Okay, so I just got done watching Fantastic Four First Steps at an early screening in Ireland. Big thank you to Odeon and Marvel for inviting me. I think this was honestly such a great event. And well, we did get to watch the movie, and I do have some really good thoughts about it. I actually do really enjoy this movie. Kicking it off with the fact that obviously we do know that this movie is set in a completely new universe. So everything that happened in some of the previous Marvel movies, obviously the last one that came out was Thunderbolts, doesn't really matter here. This is a completely fresh slate, so we have a blank slate. They can do anything with this world, and they really do. I mean, this entire world is like a retro futuristic setting that is basically, I think, supposed to be the 60s. And they really do lean into the comic books with this. We will not be going into any spoilers here, so don't worry if you are watching now and haven't seen the movie yet. But honestly, I do want to see much more of this world in future projects. It's honestly such a breath of fresh air, and literally just after coming off of Superman, I think this definitely works for it. I could definitely see Marvel going into a pretty cool direction with this, considering we know they're doing a soft reboot after Secret Wars. Just still a bit of time away, but overall, I'm really excited to see what happens with this brand new universe, which is now being called Earth 828. And in this universe, the Fantastic Four are the only heroes to exist. So we have no Avengers, no Spider-Man, no any other heroes at all. Literally, the Fantastic Four are the only ones here. And what I thought was really cool about it was the fact that it is like a retro futuristic setting, with obviously being kind of set somewhere in the 60s. But the technology that is in this world is honestly pretty sick. I mean, it's much more advanced than anything you've seen in the main MCU timeline. I mean, especially for the time it is set in. I mean, as I said, it's set somewhat in the 60s. And we do know that director Matt Shakman also did work on WandaVision, and you can definitely see a lot of that in this movie. Specifically some of those earlier episodes of WandaVision, which I know a lot of people did love. You could definitely see that he had a lot of fun kind of bringing back that old retro vibe, especially when it did come to just the overall setting. And then we just have to get into Marvel's first family themselves. Honestly, this is definitely the best version of the Fantastic Four that we've actually had in live action. As I'm someone who actually was a big fan of the original two movies that came out in the early 2000s, being Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer. But this one honestly just feels so much more like a family. I mean, Reed Richards is literally the most comic accurate Reed Richards that we've ever seen on screen. Definitely has some flaws, which I'm guessing will be explored in some future movies. I mean, I think his next appearance is supposed to be Avengers Doomsday. And honestly, I can't really go into too much without kind of going into spoiler area, but genuinely, he is my new favorite Mr. Fantastic. And then moving on, we do have Sue Storm, who is easily the MVP of this movie. I mean, she has so much to do in this. I definitely think she's going to come out of this being one of the fan favorites. She definitely does cement in that family bond that the entire group has. I mean, obviously, we do know that Johnny and Susan Storm are basically siblings. And she definitely does cement in that family bond, which honestly works so well in this movie. You really do want to see all of these characters come out completely unscathed. And I definitely think the Invisible Woman is going to be a fan favorite. I just can't wait to see more of her in the MCU. Then we have the Human Torch, obviously played by Joseph Quinn, who I think is actually a pretty cool version of the Human Torch. Now, he's very different as well compared to the likes of Chris Evans or Michael B. Jordan. He's not really as much of a ladies' man as you probably would expect. I mean, yes, he still does have his moments, which obviously is to come with the character. I mean, if he followed anything to do with the Human Torch, he's basically the same kind of archetype. But he does also have quite a bit to do with this movie, and he definitely does lend his hand when it's needed. And honestly, probably the best version of the Human Torch as well. As yes, he does have comedic moments just like any other Marvel movie is going to. But I do feel like a lot of comedic moments in this movie were kind of hidden a bit in a way where I can't actually remember any of the jokes. But I do think that this actually worked a lot better in my opinion, where they can really revel in those really dark moments where basically there's just no need for any sort of joke. But honestly, I think this works really well in this movie. And then finally, we do also have The Thing, obviously Ben Grimm, who I do feel like had a bit of a personal story that was kind of overshadowed by everything else going on. So I do wish we got a little bit more of that. You'll know what I mean when you go see the movie. But honestly, this is a pretty cool version of The Thing. I definitely think he's going to come out as a fan favorite. And I mean, even the CGI on The Thing itself in the movie just looks phenomenal. You really couldn't sit there and point out a moment where he's like, yeah, that's a CGI character. You can definitely see that it just kind of looks like it's practical. I'm actually not too sure if they did use practical effects with this character. But he's honestly pretty cool, and I can't wait to see more of him in the MCU. But then we do have the villains of this movie. Obviously, Silver Surfer, played by Julia Garner, who's actually playing the Shala Ball version of the character. So yes, it's not Norman Rad, the version that we had in Rise of the Silver Surfer. and also the arrival of Galactus. Now, this version of Galactus is honestly pretty cool. You can definitely see where a lot of the inspiration came from Fortnite. As Kevin Feige did actually come out and say when they were working on this movie that basically they sent off footage from a Fortnite live event to the Marvel team to use as a reference for Galactus in this movie. And you can definitely feel it. Galactus is honestly a menace, and I just wish we had a little bit more time with him. I think Ralph Ineson done a great job in the role. I mean, he's literally the most comic accurate version of Galactus. I mean, he wasn't just a cloud this time. And honestly, he is quite scary once you see him up close. So I definitely would say go see this movie in an IMAX screen if possible. I definitely think that Galactus itself will actually loan itself really, really well to an IMAX screen. But I unfortunately didn't get to see it in an IMAX screen, so I definitely will be booking it again once the movie releases on July 24th. Just to see Galactus in his full glory. I mean, he's honestly super cool in this. And without going into any spoilers as well, when it does come to the post-credit scene, I was actually pretty hyped for it, but at the same time, a little bit disappointed. I will be going into more of that in my spoiler review, but overall, I think it is still a pretty solid post-credit scene, and we do know it is directed by the Russo brothers, so deal with that information as you will. And while one of the other post-credit scenes is a little bit more of like a, sort of like a homage, I suppose, but I'm honestly not too sure what to take it. I'm going to have to pay a little bit more attention when I go see the movie again. I was like, there could be some sort of deeper meaning to it, but I think I was just too excited in the moment from the previous post-credit scene. I suppose the second post-credit scene is more on the comedic side of things, where the first one was basically like your big moment. But when it does come to my review score of this movie, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 stars for the action. I mean, there is a whole lot of action in this movie, but there is a whole lot of downtime as well. I do think one of my biggest gripes with this movie was the fact that I think there was still a little bit of a lack of Mr. Fantastic using his abilities. Comedy, I'm going to give a 2.5. As I said, I do think that it is hidden very well in the movie to points where it does only make sense in those exact moments. It doesn't really suffer from some of the other Marvel movies where the comedy just kind of feels out of place. Drama, I'm going to give a 4-star, considering this is actually a very drama-focused movie. Considering how close this whole family is, obviously being the Fantastic Four, there is definitely a lot of issues that they all come with, and obviously a lot of conflict. Suspense, I'm going to give a 4 out of 5. I was honestly questioning what exactly was going to be happening next almost every single second in this movie, especially when it comes to Galactus and how exactly they're going to try and take him down. Overall, I'm going to give this movie a 4.5. This is definitely one of Marvel's best. Definitely a great first step in the very first line of brand new Fantastic Four movies. I think that's how this is a Marvel movie. The post-credit scene, I'm going to give a 3 out of 5 star. I do have some issues with it, but overall, it's definitely a pretty cool one. But let me know down in the comments, are you guys going to see Fantastic Four First Steps when it releases this weekend? And make sure to leave your thoughts on it down below if you've gone to see it already. But it's been iWatch Always. Be sure to follow me on all socials at iRush Always. Their links are all down in the description. And I'll catch you all in the next one.